1910s, muckrakers, journalism, and urbanization characterized popular culture. The success of big businesses in the late 19th century led to the reform and rise of industrial cities. We can see this in the development of cities like New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia. The invention of steel girders, plate glass, and elevators, along with the work of the Chicago School, made city skyscrapers a key aspect of urban life. The addition of electric light instead of gas lights lit up the urban skylines.
Big businesses also led to widespread corruption and political bosses. Along with the rise of the industrial elite came the increase of poor workers and muckrakers. One of the famous political machines was New York's Tammany Society that dispensed better urban services to the poor in exchange for their support. Jane Addams's Hull House, or the rise of settlement houses to support immigrants, relates to the spread of urban reform. Journalists like William Randolph Hearst, Uptown Sinclair, and Joseph Pulitzer used yellow journalism, or mass market media, to expose many of the scandals and injustices of big businesses and political machines. Specifically, Theodore Roosevelt labeled these urban reform journalists muckrakers. This caused an increased printing of newspapers for the public.
Although the battlefield was across the sea, the U.S. faced many changes and challenges during and after World War I. Paranoia over communism started in 1917 with the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, resulting in the Soviet Union. The Red Scare caused events such as the Palmer Raids, the denunciation of labor unions, and the resurgence of the KKK, now geared more towards nativism against Eastern Europeans. The Red Scare even reached the Supreme Court scene in the Sacco and Vanzetti trials, resulting in the execution of supposed communist coverts.
While white men were off fighting in World War I, minorities like women and African Americans took responsibility over industrial jobs and roles at home. Women like Carrie Chapman Catt of the Red Cross, Alice Paul of the National Women's Party progressed through the war. This women's rights movement was emphasized by the passing of the 19th Amendment in 1920, which gave women the right to vote. The Great Migration was characterized by African Americans moving to northern industrial cities. This caused the emergence of Black pride and culture, as shown in the Harlem Renaissance. In different areas and groups, culture thrived. Authors like Zora Neale Hurston and W.E.B. Du Bois wrote powerful novels about integrating blacks into American culture. The Harlem Renaissance gave the country the only true genre of American music, jazz. Musicians like Miles Davis and Louis Armstrong combined blues, ragtime, and soul music into a new upbeat rhythm. This accompanied the popularization of dance in cities. The Great Migration consequently caused the Red Summer or race riots in New York.
The 1920s dollar diplomacy, business expansion, and post-war success brought a period of prosperity. This time was known as the Roaring Twenties. The rest of the country experienced a cultural explosion as well. The prosperity of Wall Street made extravagant parties common. Literature, like The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, shows the excess wealth of many urbanites during this period. Prohibition with the 18th Amendment in 1919 made liquor inadvertently cheaper. This intensified organized crimes, clubs called speakeasies, and gang activity. Businessmen like Al Capone illegally became rich overnight because of it. It was eventually tax evasion that put gangsters like Al Capone in jail. Along with the emergence of speakeasies, the flapper image for women surfaced. Girls with short hair, short skirts, along with their signature boots, characterized rebellion from the traditional feminine image. The increased amount of parties, as well as independent men and women, made single life in the cities more desirable.
The consumer culture also was a result of increased American wealth. Car companies like Ford made the automobile cheap and affordable for American families. Road trips became a common way to vacation. Radios became a way of receiving information and learning the latest gossip. Vacuums and electric refrigerators became common household appliances in affluent homes. 40% of Americans owned radios, and 1 out of 6 people owned an automobile by the end of the 1920s. The advertising industry worshipped the middle-class mother with new kitchen appliances to help her care for the family. It was the age of brands.
The crash of the stock market in 1929 also led to the collapse of this new American culture. It was never really seen again until the emergence of the counterculture in the 1960s and can be compared to diverse group of Americans challenged a once traditional conservative culture.